Hello everybody, welcome to Sonic Talk episode 683, today recording live on, well, what is it? It's Wednesday the 8th of September, that's right, because we're 1 week before Super Booth. There will be no show next Wednesday because we'll be in Berlin, all being well, and covering all the stuff from the Berlin show. We're getting quite excited about it. I feel a little bit trepidatious. The first big trip since this all lockdown started, but the team's up together. Everything's starting to work. We will be attempting some live streams and doing some special content for you Patreon supporters. Thank you very much. In case you're wondering how to become a Patreon supporter, that was a smooth link. Patreon.com/Sonicstate. You can see there's lots of posts there. We post ad-free stuff of all of our posts that we put on YouTube that don't have that is monetized. We also post like patches and sound downloads and all kinds of extra stuff just in case you're interested there. So I want to say thank you to you supporters. There's a little bit, we do an end screen at the end where everybody gets to see how it all was. Their names in lights, as it were. That's if you're with the bigger Patreons. Also, if you were interested in listening to this as an audio podcast, we're everywhere. Spotify, Stitcher, Google, Alexa, iTunes, all of those places where you find your podcast. And we're streaming this obviously live to YouTube, we're streaming live to Facebook, and we stream to Twitch. But that's it. Thank you very much. So anyway, let's is there anything else I need to say? Yes, I think there is. I think that's probably it. Now I've done all my plugging. So let's say hello to some guests. We're going to start with Mr. Ty Unwin because we haven't seen him for such a long time. How are you, Ty? You well?
I know, it's been good for you, hasn't it? I've been
well,
not been around. That's good for anybody. So, no, I'm good. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Are you back in? You're back in the studio now. Are you sort of? Is it all done?
Yeah. So it's not all done. You know,
No,
I'm just going to lie. I'm just going to lie. Yeah, it's all done. It's all working great, and it's all just, you know, it's perfect. No, it's not. So this one's a lot more further forward than the other ones. But the buildings. Oh God! So the last time I was on, that wasn't up. So the third one's now built and ready to go. But it's just finding time to actually, you know, it's like. So
yeah, absolutely.
But everything's good. Yeah, everything's good. Thank you.
I'm glad to hear it. Of course, Ty, very busy media composer, and what's with Midge, yours, an orchestrator, arranger, producer, I believe, really these days as well. Still doing those projects. Yeah,
writing more than anything else. We're starting on. So we're doing an orchestrated 2 album, which is all the things you said. But then we're also writing and producing his next album together. So, which is all original stuff. So 2 albums on the go at the same time with him. And and
all the other stuff you do,
and all the other stuff. So
simple.
You know,
Nothing,
keeps me off the streets.
Plenty to do. Anyway, lovely to have you, Ty. I'm sure we'll be speaking again in a moment. I'm just going to introduce our friend, Mr. Dominic Hawkin, aka Mr. Wiggly, mrwiggly.co.uk, maker of the fine incinerator plugin, as well as many other things and other stuff in development. How are you, Dom? You well?
Very well. Good afternoon to you. Yeah, very well indeed. Thank you. Nothing much has changed since last week.
No.
Although I heartily recommend you sign up for Patreon, because had you watched the Patreon stream before, you would have heard my Megan Fox smelling Michael Bay's chicken story, which is completely true. But you're going to have to pay for that one if you want to join up the Sonicstate Patreon. But no, other than that, working hard on plugin version 2, which is the next plugin, which really is imminent. I reckon a couple of weeks before beta testing, so that's exciting, and that will coincide with a new version of Incinerator. Which isn't vastly different to the old one. It's just a basic upgrade with a few little tweaks, nothing major, because that one seems to work well. So yeah, really good week so far. Thank you.
Excellent, glad to hear it. Well, like I say, we're all getting ready for Super Booth. In fact, I said I would play this for Andreas. Andreas is going to be on, and Mr. Herr Schneider, who is the big cheese behind Super Booth, he's going to be on Gaz's show later on today as a special guest. So if you want to find out all more about Super Booth, but in the meantime, I'll play this video.
And Fitz Berlin,
because it's next week.
In the middle of preparing everything, and I just see the full program. What is starting on Wednesday, September 15th already. The This is in 3 weeks from now. And there's Jamaica, Herr Schneider, TM, and TB Arthur with the guitar performance. Kid Moon, Jan Tiersen coming from France with his caravan because flying is out of fashion. And Arctic is playing in the evening on the Tresor stage over there in the middle of the forest with wonderful weather. On Thursday, there's Kabuki, Martin Foes, Tiki Man, and Rauder with wonderful dub stuff. Hacke de Picciotto over here. Mr. Hacke, who used to play with the Neubauten together with his wife, de Picciotto, who founded the Love Parade together with Dr. Motte, and Carlotta playing at night.
There's just so much of this stuff. I wanted to say, basically, there's tickets available. If you're thinking of going at the last minute because you're not sure about travel plans, you must buy your tickets in advance. It's absolutely essential that you buy in advance. There's no on-the-door stuff, but if you're going to go, there's going to be so much stuff. There's also going to be a live stream. We're going to do some live streaming from there, hopefully with my little setup rig. So Super Booth next week, live from Sonicstate. Well, not live.
Can I just say, they really do take social distancing quite
yeah, he's a long way
there, don't they? I mean, you know, it's not 2 meters over there. I'm sure that was done with a zoom. Maybe it's 2 miles. It was. I mean, how far away was the camera? I'm sorry.
You get your own station.
Exactly. That was brilliant. Yeah, great. Okay.
Oh,
anyway, just thought I had to comment on.
You're welcome. I'm just trying in. I think what I'm trying to do. I think it's supposed to. My links thing should have possibly gone to everybody, but I don't know if it has or not. Have I switched everything on? I can't even.
No, it's just you, I think.
Well, let me see. What have I done? Have I sent it? Links. Oh, that's supposed to go to YouTube as well, but it doesn't seem to be as well. That's a shame. I'll paste it in. I'll paste it in here anyway. So I'm just going to paste the link to our show news here and superbooth.com if you want to find any other business. Is that showing up? That's quite annoying. Oh, well, never mind. I'll figure it out. I thought I'd be doing something clever. So, yeah, Super Booth next week. And, you know, head over. I mean, I guess you guys aren't going. I know you're not. I mean, it's going to be an interesting mix of things. So we'll just have to see how it all works out. But I wanted to play that as an extra plug. But if you want to see more about the insides of it, head over to Gaz's channel, Gaz Williams Show on YouTube tonight, 8 p.m. Mr. Herr Schneider will be on there as well. And he is always good value. Right, anyway, let's get on to some news. Right, here we go. Now I'm posting this because this is the ROLI Lumi, which was their last product.
Technique and build musical skills. And that's not all. Lumi Keys is also.
But in fact, the news is, unfortunately, that ROLI have gone into administration, which is not maybe the biggest surprise to a lot of people. But nonetheless, it's still a pain. What they've done is they've gone into administration. I say they swerved bankruptcy. They've done that thing that a lot of large corporate entities do, which is kind of get the administrators in, do something else and launch another company, raise some funding, and they're going to be focusing on they're starting a new company called Luminary, which is going to be subscription based and based around sort of teaching kids how to play, which kind of ties in, or teaching beginners how to play, which sort of ties in with this hardware. So I think there's going to be some hardware, but I guess this isn't really a big surprise. I mean, I think they racked up about 100 million in investment, which is really impressive by 2019, and then it became clear that they weren't selling enough of their innovative product because they did some great stuff. But it's sad, but it's also a bit of a drag because it means maybe people will shy away from investing into creative projects. Now, I think I'll start with Ty. Ty, have you got a Seaboard? I'm trying to remember if you did, because I know a bunch of people have. I've
got an original. I've got a Grand Studio from the first lot, and then I've got a Rise. And that was it for me. That's when, you know, I mean, it's no surprise, you know, to say it's no surprise is putting it mildly, because I've never seen a company lose direction and flounder more than this. It's really sad to see, because when they first appeared, it looked like it was, you know, it was great. It was obvious. Everyone knew about the amount of investment that had been made, and great product. I mean, reliability not great. I mean, my Seaboard, I think I'm on my second. The Grand, I'm on my second one. I think the Rise, I might be on my second one. I can't remember. And I know so many people that have Rises that have issues. But the moment that they bought out the blocks and then this, whatever the latest laughable thing they bought out, I mean, it's just, you know, they just completely lost it. And so it's no surprise. It's sad from my point of view, because obviously it means in terms of repair, I mean, all the website says, well, it says that the support and you know, they're going to still repair and whatever. But yeah, we've heard all this before by so many companies. If push came to shove, I don't think, you know, I mean, look, I'll be brutal. I'm essentially writing my my Grand and my Rise off. The moment something goes wrong with them, I think that's going to be it. I think they just go under, which especially with the Studio Grand is a shame, because it's amazing. I mean, it's because that's the one that's got the audio engine built into it. And and also, you know, I will stand up and, you know, they made all these claims about the Rise, about how they'd improved the surface and all this kind of thing. Absolute codswallop. The original was absolutely the best. All they did was make it cheaper and try to convince people that because they fitted an extra dimension into it, that it made it better. Yes, it lacks that dimension on the original, but in terms of a playing surface, it's so much nicer than the Rises. But again, I just wish they'd been honest and said, we're making this because it's cheaper, rather than you're improving it because it's absolute codswallop. So I'll be honest with you, I feel quite angry, because they've never been a great company in terms of support anyway. And I think it's also, from everything I've read and heard, and again, this is all hearsay and, you know, what I've read, so you never know. I kind of get the impression this isn't the company from the bottom up. I think they're a great company with lots of great people working for them. I think this is very much, the problem is very much at the very head. And when I say the head, I mean the very head of it. And I think lots of bad decisions were made, and I think, to be fair, I think they, as long as he's in charge, I kind of get the impression that those bad decisions will carry on being made, and so whatever this new company is, I absolutely won't have anything to do with them at all, because, you know.
Well, I think that's fair enough. I think it is a shame, isn't it, Dom? Because I mean, they did for the kind of the case for MPE, and you know, the Seaboard block, which is what I've got, is great. I mean, I thought that was the real sweet spot for me, because I can't play multiple notes on it anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's a shame, and it's obviously sad news for the employees. Although they're supposed to be going to the new place, I just can't see how they're going to keep. I can't see how they're going to keep 70 of them, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, I agree. I think it's really bad. And I think it's bad because this is a great idea. It's one of those companies that came up with a great idea in what is actually a reasonably sexy industry, because it touches the music industry, which is a touch point to be able to raise investment that then forgets what they're making and what it's worth. You know, I looked at the numbers. I couldn't see where they raised 100 mil from, but they raised $13 million in 2014 as their startup. So let's just imagine we set up a company to make this new keyboard, MPE, right? So, you know, we should be around about the size of, let's say, what's that really cute, cool little keyboard with a tape machine in it and all the rest of it? The
Teenage Engineering.
Teenage Engineering. We're at that kind of level, right? You know, three of us. To raise that amount of money is pretty crazy anyway, because all we got to do is make the first one. And then in 2016, they raised 27 million first round funding. So that values the company at £50 million. In 2017, they spent $23 million. And they released one product. So I mean, $23 million, that's 100 grand every day, Monday to Friday for the entire year. Imagine one of us wakes up and goes, right, we're going to spunk 100 grand today. What should we do? Well, I've got to do the same tomorrow. And you've really got to go some. I mean, they put Pharrell in as the CEO of the company, or the chief entertainment industry officer or whatever. And it's just like they got carried away with running companies rather than making products. And you do see it happen occasionally. And it's VC money, you know, so it's not private investors' money. So some people would say, oh, poor VCs and all the rest of it. It's all gone. Their pre-tax loss this year was 13 or 20 something? I can't remember.
It was 13
million pre-tax. So they haven't even paid tax on that. So the government loses out entirely on their tax bill, and probably has for the last few years. You've really got to go some to lose that amount of money making a keyboard. Let's just remember they're making a little keyboard.
Yeah. Basically, they've popped
so what they've done, they bought companies. They bought Juice. Thank goodness they sold Juice, which is the software that people use, that I use to make Incinerator. The platform powers loads and loads of plugins, cool gadget, everything. They sold it last year. Otherwise, that would be down the Swanee. It's just crazy, and this happens. I'm seeing similar things, hopefully that won't end like this. Like Blackstone, that are running around buying up publishing companies for multi-million pounds, you know, buying up posts. To me, they're paying too much for the product, and therefore they won't make the money back. But it's very, very cool to raise that money in the city, because it's songs, you know, well, we can go and buy David Bowie's estate and all that kind of stuff. And Arcade, Output, is it? Or Arcade?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Arcade or Output is the product of that company. And I can't remember. I mean, they've raised, Output raised 45 million. Great product. I'm not sure it's worth $45 million in investment, but good luck to them. If they spend it right, it's great. I mean, Google at one stage was making more money from the investment they had raised, invested in the bank, than they were from product. You can do these things right. This guy just seems to have been running around spending money on offices and Pharrell, and you have a lot of fun spending 100 grand a day for a year. You know, it's great when it's not your money. But all I would say was, when you or I or people in this industry then go to raise money from VC, they look at the past performance of these guys and they set what they want in return and the amount that they're going to lend you based on that. And there aren't that many VC raising companies in this sphere. And when one of the biggest just turns around to have basically just messed them around and stolen their money, sorry, not allegedly taken their money and not spent it correctly, you're not going to get a decent deal. You're going to have to give up more for it, or you're not going to get the money that's raised, because they can only go on past performance. And this is a really, really bad, leaves a bad taste in the mouth. And then lastly, package liquidation, right, is fold the company, set up a new one, start again tomorrow, and write off all those debts. You can't get touched. That's the limited bit of having a limited company. You have a limited liability. You know, so it's good to keep the people employed, but you really don't have that much recompense. As long as you can be seen to have been running the company correctly, which I would say in this case may be harder to prove, then you can literally just fold and start again, literally with the same product if you want the next day. And it leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
Does anyone know what's happening with F Expansion? Because obviously they're owned by them, and they've got some really great software. You know, does anyone know? Does anyone?
I mean, the liquidator that's appointed would be trying to sell it. So when you appoint liquidation, their idea is to either sell the company and carry it on, or raise as much money from the chattel and what's left to pay the debtors. Okay. And the last debtors that they raised.
No, hold on. According to the Wikipedia, in April 2020, ROLI sold F Expansion. It's just sold BFD to InMusic brand, so it hasn't sold the whole lot. It's just sold one of the properties. Okay, so yeah. Okay. So not the whole thing.
Okay. But yeah, Dom's right. I mean, the whole thing leaves an incredibly bad taste in the mouth, especially for people that have, you know, kind of spent good money with it. And yeah. It's a shame. It's a real shame.
It was just a keyboard. I mean, we could have made a keyboard.
Yeah, give us 5. Do you know, I'm liking your idea. I'm liking your pitch, Dom. So when are we three going into it? Yeah, Baldy and Baldy. Totally. That make it Baldy and Baldy.
We could just be called the three eggs. I think would be is the brand. How about that?
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
I could be one of the. I'll just come up with ideas like that, and
Yeah, well,
Don could do the pitch. Yeah,
Can I get spunk away the 100 grand every day? I'll do that bit. Yeah.
Pharrell doesn't have much hair, does he? We could get him in there.
Yeah, that's true. 4 eggs.
No.
We could be called the. If we get enough, we could be called the bald half dozen. How about that? That'd be good.
Yes.
All I'm thinking is profit margins at this point. I'm not liking that idea. I'm not liking
too many people.
Yeah. Stick at the 3. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk after the show with that. But thank you very much. I think that'd probably work out pretty well. Well, I mean, maybe this is a good time to actually introduce a company who has actually done completely the opposite, which is Modal have really kind of picked up and started to make more, and really kind of go on. So you can find a little bit more about the Modal Cobalt 8, which is a great virtual 8-voice extended virtual analog synth, innovative oscillator with I think it's close to 40 algorithms now. Morphable four-pole ladder filter, 29 Anderson coders and real-time control, internal sequencer and arpeggiator, MPE support for expression, again, very useful. Modal app for Mac, Windows, iOS and Android, VST3 and AU. If you want to find out more, head over to bit.ly/get_modal. We thank them for their support. But yeah, it can be done right and can be done sensibly. It's just, you know, swanky offices and lots and lots of employees is probably not the way to go. But like you say, Dom, a lot of fun, I'd imagine, doing that. Wow, what fun. Yeah, that would be fun. We dallied with this whole sort of floating Sonic back in the first .com boom. And, you know, we started to tell people, you know, we had people pitching and it was starting to get serious, but it was just, the thought of being subsumed by that whole thing and spat out when they'd sort of assets stripped and tried to make as much money from a sort of fake public limit. So I'm glad I didn't do it, although I would have probably been wealthy. I might have been unhappy.
It's strange. I've been on the verges and involved with that kind of stuff a lot, because we sold my last company to FTSE 100 firm. So I've been in those board meetings where you're talking about silly amounts of money like that. And I've seen the other side. I've seen people raise that money and die. And I've seen people raise the money and taken it and done good. I mean, the point is, I think it does raise a red flag when I see people with a sexy product or a sexy industry raising money from people outside of that industry because it's touching all the right buttons, you know. And if ROLI had taken that money and bought a couple of other companies and they'd done well, we wouldn't be having this conversation here. But it does seem to be that perhaps people who aren't used to that level of revenue begin to believe their own hype. I think that's it. You know, if your idea is suddenly valued at 50 million because you've raised 50 million pounds on the front of it, it must be quite easy to believe that you could make lots more money back off it, and you forget that it's a keyboard that's going to retail for $299 or whatever it is, and that's an awful lot of keyboards you need to sell to get that anything remotely like that back. So we shouldn't dwell on it, but it really is. It's a bad taste, and it's bad for the industry when things like this go wrong at such a large scale. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I want to say thank you to, if I get this right, no, it's this one. All My Technologies. Thank you very much, Peter James Stevenson. But we can't show the stickers, but it's a pair character bowing down saying thank you. So thank you.
Is that what that message is? Okay, I see it. Actually,
I haven't. It's data sources in this program are a little bit of a thing there. Anyway, I'll get there in the end. But it's the talk that matters. So let's have a look at. Well, this is just Tease. This is kind of pre-Super Booth Tease world. So that's not it. It's this one. Gosh, that's very dark. You can't see much, can you? It looks clearer when I'm playing. Oh, there we go. On Monday, the new Dreadbox, rumoured to be a polyphonic analog. Now, lots of people are saying they reckon it's going to be like a 6-voice Abyss, but I don't know. I'm leaning more towards the concept that it might actually be more of a 6-voice Typhon, which would be a really interesting proposition, I think. I don't know. I mean, Dom, have we talked you into getting hold of any Dreadbox stuff? Because you haven't got any in your life. You are.
I need some. I'm such a fan.
You've got to try it.
I've virtually all my kind of close Facebook style synth friends are always on about it, and yeah, really I love it every time I've heard one. I'm a massive fan. This is the ultimate tease. It's some opera singers and a date, so it's really kind of, I think even the idea that it's 6-voice seems to be just a rumor so far, but it's got me excited that this has to be the one that pushes me over the edge. It's that easy really at this stage in the game, to be honest.
Well, we're going to be heading straight there. One of our first appointments is with Dreadbox, so we'll find out and get the skinny on that. But there is, of course, NobCon this weekend. For those of you that know, we know there's going to be some announcement stuff there, but for many people, this will be the first chance that we get to have a hands-on on any of this thing. I know you're a Dreadbox fan, aren't you, Ty?
I'm still thinking of opera singer and a date, and I'm anyone's. That's what I like. I can't argue with that, to be fair. It's a sentiment. I'm all in. But no, Dreadbox. Love Dreadbox. Absolutely. Yeah. I've got an Abyss. I've got an Abyss, and I've got a Mermux. Do you remember they did that limited edition, the Mermux V2?
Ah, yeah, it's like carpets. It's covered in carpet.
That's the one. And
tweed.
Yeah. And I've got an Erebus, and I've got Medusa, which is kind of, and I've got a Typhon. So yeah, quite a lot of Dreadbox stuff. But the Abyss is beautiful. I mean, it's one of the most underrated. It's so simple, but it's so clever at the same time. It's a lovely sounding. And this is the thing about all the Dreadbox stuff. Forget everything about them. They just sound amazing. You know, they just sound fantastic. And I mean, I hope this is a 6-voice poly version. I don't think it'll be like the Abyss, because I think
the Abyss is para. Isn't the Abyss para?
No, it's polyphonic. No, it's polyphonic.
Okay.
But it's quite a unique instrument. I don't think. I mean, if they did, I'd happily have a 6-voice version rather than the 4-voice version. But there are some quite unique things about it that I don't think are, for the mass public, are good selling points, if that makes sense. I think they will have learnt from the Abyss in terms of, you know, kind of the masses, and honed it down into a slightly more conventional 6-voice. If it is going to be a polyphonic synth, I don't know. I honestly don't know. But whatever it is, I think we can kind of say for certain it's going to sound great, because all of their stuff sounds great. So,
yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's just without. I think that's where they start. They start from do the oscillators sound great, and then they've got that great filter design, which is
completely. Yeah,
and then everything else goes on top of that, and it's there's something about the way that they do things and the way that they sound. In fact, in many ways that, you know, it started for me with the Erebus, like say Mark II. It's just you hear that oscillator
completely.
Crikey.
I mean, I always say about them, it's them and Analog Solutions are the two companies who their stuff is the nearest thing in terms of a sound to that raw kind of mid to late 70s kind of synth sound. You know, when synths had that real rawness about them that kind of got smoothed over a bit in the 80s. But yeah, kind of Dreadbox and Analog Solutions are the two companies that still have that kind of very traditional 70s sound, just on the basic oscillators and filter. And I can't wait. I really can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I mean, I think obviously the thing that's the challenging thing for any manufacturer at the moment is just finding components, because there's such a shortage for a variety of reasons. I mean, we've talked about this before, but I mean, partly to do with just the lack of transportation, you know, infrastructure, because a lot of the containers are being used for moving medical supplies and PPE around, as they quite rightly should. There's just a huge shortage, and shipping these things is becoming more and more expensive. And also the capacity of many of the factories have reduced, and there's been a fire. There was a fire a couple of years ago at the AKM, which is still having ramifications. This is for the A to Ds and D to As, and there's just shortages of chips all over the place. And, you know, this is the challenge with any of these little guys. You know, I mean, I suppose in some ways, if you're I say little, I mean, Dreadbox are doing pretty good, but if you're a small scale manufacturer, then you're not buying in large amounts, so you're not saving as much, but also you don't have to find as many components, so maybe it'll be a bit easier to kind of get through. But it's desperately sad at the moment. I'm hoping that it's all going to be fine. That's what we hope. Here's another one. There's a bit. Oh no, let me see, did I do this one right? I think I've just completely. Yeah, here we go. New Korg Wavestate version 2 OS, which opens up a bunch of things. We get an editor for starters, which is big. I think that's a big plus. We're also getting user samples up to, and not just user samples, but up to 4 gigabytes you could load in. I mean, crikey, that's a bit. Oh, hello. Yeah, no, it doesn't do user samples. Oh, yes, it does. 4 gigs. You can have those. It's quite impressive, really. So let me see. I'm just going to do that, can't I? There we go. There's me lower third going over. Yeah. So big news. I don't know how has anybody got the Wavestate? I don't know. Dom, did you go for any of those new Korg, the new format, which is that Raspberry Pi inside, as we can attest? I took mine apart.
I know. Oh, yeah. That's probably for the display, though, right? I don't know. or at least the control stuff. No, I don't. I'm going to get one, and I know a man who does, which is a chap that I chatted to recently called Mark Barnes, who makes sound libraries, Mark Barnes Sounds, and he's just done a whole load of patches for this, and he's had one for the last couple of months, I think. So he's on the sly, he was playing me some demos and stuff. I mean, it sounds brilliant. It sounds really, really good. And it, to me, turns it into another machine. The fact that you can upload your own stuff is kind of limitless, right? I mean, Korg are on fire anyway, but it's almost like they could have released this as a new synth, let alone an update, which I think is for free, isn't it, for the current
Yeah,
one?
I think so.
So definitely takes it to another level. I'm afraid I don't have one to actually first hand, so I've only just heard demos via Zoom calls and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So,
well, no, I can understand that. I mean, I did like it. It was quite derivative, I seem to remember at the time. When I reviewed it, it was like, yeah, this is really impressive, but it was incredibly complicated. And I suppose the thing is the editor will hopefully make, because some of the wave sequencing is just really hard to just conceptualize on that. I mean, you can do it all, but it's not a great deal of fun. I mean, Ty, I think you've got an original wave station, haven't you? So, you know, you're spoiled a little bit, but I don't know if you've got this.
Yeah, I have. I got a Wavestate as well. But so I'm a big Wavestation fan from back in the day. And yeah, I mean, the Wavestate in its previous, version 1 was great. But obviously the wave sequencing is like a whole new level again on top of the Wavestation with a smaller screen. And exactly as you say, if you thought that editing on a Wavestation was difficult, try editing a Wavestate on its screen. It's not the easiest thing in the world. But the whole user sampling thing, I mean, that's just exactly as Dom said, that just takes into a whole new realm. And as you said, 4 gig as well. I mean, it's like, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
I don't know where they found. I don't know where they found that, because there's coincidentally there's 4 gigs of user sample in there. So I'm wondering whether there's like a fixed bit of ROM that loads into the 4 gig of memory when you boot, so that if you put your own stuff in, I don't know how persistent it is. You can't do velocity layers or anything like that, but you can multi-sample. It's just one layer of multi-sample. So there's quite a lot of stuff you could do. But again, you're going to have to spend a bit of time. I think actually, from what I was reading, it's not too slow a transfer, because that's another thing that would be.
I mean, I haven't updated mine yet. I mean, one of the other things that everyone seems to be skipping over is actually the fact that now they've sorted out the sync, basically, bearing in mind that, a lot of the Wavestation stuff, the Wavestate stuff is all about, kind of rhythmic stuff and actually sequencing. There was a problem with the syncing to other stuff.
Really?
It didn't see. Yeah, it didn't. It basically started to drift, basically.
Drifted. Oh, that's no
good. And they've sorted that out. And I know that sounds like a nothingy thing, but bearing in mind the whole point of this thing is based on that is quite an important thing. So that's a big one. But yeah, the user sampling. I mean, and it's also the way they almost just kind of threw it in. It's almost just like we'll go on. We'll let you use sample on it as well.
It is a big update, obviously. I don't know, Dom, whether you've have I come to you already? I'm losing my memory. I've got too many things on the go.
Dom said he had one. Dom, change it. So you've got one. Yeah, Dom's got two. Dom's got two. Yeah, he loves it. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know what's the matter with me. I'm losing my. I tell you I like the form factor I'm more interested in is I would and I nearly did. I'm more sort of fascinated by the Op6. The Korg Op6 is the nice. The Op6 is the thing that I really liked. I must admit, I found myself really lost in that thing. And that's the one I really enjoyed. Have you got that?
What? No, I haven't, because I have to say, and personally, I don't like the form. I'm not that keen on the form factor, but I kind of had to have it because of the whole Wavestation thing. But then I went and looked at an Op6, and I spent fair enough. I went to a shop where I got my stuff, and I spent a whole afternoon on one. Just didn't. I don't know what it was. It just didn't do it. Didn't do it for me, and I really wanted to like it, but just didn't do it for me. I don't know why. It's one of those things, but I walked out without buying it, and I kind of went in with every intention of getting one, and didn't, and that's quite an unusual event to happen because of my
I wonder if it was because one thing I wasn't sure about was how good quality the D2As were on it, and whether that because FM is notoriously
it's very fussy when it comes to these.
Maybe, you know, and not only big, but lots of really fast and, you know, difficult to deal with transients. And maybe, I don't know. I mean, I'm speculating. I couldn't say.
No. I don't know what to. I wish, you know, normally, I think the unusual thing is normally, you know, if I play a synth and I don't take to it, I can normally figure out why I don't take to it. You know, I could give you a list of reasons why I don't like it or why I like it. And with that one, it was a very strange one, because if you'd actually said to me, okay, what is it you don't like about it? I couldn't really give you.
Put your finger on it. I
couldn't put my finger on it. I didn't click with it. So
I found it really was good for more sort of, it was great for sort of pads and organic evolution rather than that sort of snappy FM kind of classic FM sounds. Maybe, But anyway,
with the I was just going to say, with the Wavestate, what it sounds like they've done is they've opened up their developer tools again, which is just marvelous. The same way that they've opened up their oscillators and stuff, because I'm guessing they had the editor that they used to create the synth in the first place, and they've polished it up and they've made it ready for kind of real-time, prime-time use.
Maybe,
and probably there was always 4 gigs available in RAM or kind of static RAM in there, and they just opened that up too, you know, so because they haven't changed any of the hardware. So, and I think it's really good. They're trusting their users a little bit more to just kind of going, okay, we're going to make our tools available to you, and it breathes life into something that's already a really good product. So it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what else have we got? That's the Wavestate update. That's a big one. Where could we go? I'm curious to this one. Where to go next? Because there's a few. I'll tell you what. I'll do our friends from Isotope first.
Isotope Producers Club is a one-of-a-kind membership for producers ready to take their tracks to the next level. Once you join, you'll gain access to powerhouse Isotope plugins and a curated selection of tools from our partners, such as Melodyne from Celemony. Plus, as long as you're a member, you'll get every future update to the Isotope plugins in your membership for no extra cost. We'll also regularly serve you new curated content like exclusive inspiration-sparking sample packs and preset packs, and industry-leading training ranging from our own tutorials to vocal production lessons from the world-renowned Berklee Online, taught by Grammy-winning producer and engineer Prince Charles Alexander. With new content being added every month full of valuable production techniques, tips and tricks, and solutions to common production problems, becoming a member is an investment in your career that grows as you and your career do. For more information on Isotope Producers Club, head to isotope.com.
We thank them for their support of Sonic Talk, and also if you head over to isotope.com/Sonic Talk, you can they've given away a free month, so you could sign up and then cancel if it didn't suit you, but you get a month for Nout, so well worth checking out. So welcome Sonic Talk listeners, and we thank them again for their support of the show. So let's see. Oh gosh, I don't know where to go next. There's so many. Should we go silly, or should we go kind of a bit more straightforward? I'm just trying to think. What's that? I'm quite like the. Let's go here. Why not?
For God's sake.
All right, let's not go. All right, no, you're not doing that. That was the Lego Stratocaster, which seems like a very
the Lego Stratocaster.
Okay, well,
go on.
I'm going back in then.
Go on.
So, if you ever felt you couldn't afford a real Stratocaster, or even perhaps a cheap remake, then you could spend almost as much on a non-playable Lego model of it, which doesn't make any sound and comes with 1,000 pieces, so might actually test your patience a little bit, but there it is. It's an interesting idea. It's the sort of latest branding, kind of co-brand between Lego and Fender. And I put this in because it was a bit of a silly one, really, and I'm guessing I'll come to you, Ty, because, I mean, am I right in thinking you play guitar, or have played guitar, used to play guitar?
I have guitars, and I think I've said before, I got my grade 8 classical guitar when I was a teenager, and then never played it again. I only got it to I needed a second instrument to get into music college, so that's why I learned it. And then the moment I got in and didn't have to play it, I just stopped and haven't really played it. But I do have guitars, though. So, I mean, occasionally on tracks, I can put together a guitar track, but am I a guitarist? Nah, no. But that isn't the point here. I could be, you know, it's nothing whether I play guitar or don't play guitar. I've got a 10-year-old daughter who loves Lego, and I spend a lot of time doing Lego. But for God's sake, I mean... quid? 90 quid. Go to your local music store and buy a cheap Fender copy for 90 quid. I've done it. I've bought her an electric guitar that was pink, for God's sake. And that is... Don't. Come on. Have you seen how big it is?
Yeah, it's very small. It's really funny. The marketing speak in it is the guy who came up with it. He did it out of I'm trying to remember the name of the guy. It was his name is. Let me see if I can find him. The guy was called Thomas.
Thomas Get a Life.
Thomas Letterman, who apparently. Turned his teenage dream of owning a Fender Stratocaster into a Lego creation. And it's like, well,
go on.
Really?
Yeah.
And a man with a full-time job can't afford any form of guitar that looks like a Stratocaster.
He's still living with his mother. Oh.
I think what they should have done, what they should do is, if they want to brand it, they should make Lego pedals, because then you can put, you know, cases, so you can actually make a sound. I don't know, Dom, it does seem a bit ludicrous. It is clutching straw. I think it's a little harsh. We don't want. I'm sure he's a lovely bloke.
Oh dear! To be honest, I've just changed my mind in the last 2 minutes. I mean, 90 quid. You should go and buy a real one, shouldn't you? When you compare it to the cost of a real one, that's outrageous. And my own
it would certainly be as well made for 90 quid, wouldn't it?
Well, exactly. I can't play guitar either, but I've got a Fender Strat copy from years and years ago that I've had, which is now down in her bedroom on a stand that she plays. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, what I was going to say was, I quite like some of the stuff that they're doing, and I don't know if it's the company I keep, but again, a lot of my friends that pop up on Facebook have been adults, have been making Lego during lockdown and making kind of back cars and crazy stuff. So it's obviously appealing to more than the children's demographic, which I guess this is what this is aimed to. So I think there's a whole larger market going out for kind of classic models. But yeah, 90 quid is outrageous for a bunch of plastic, isn't it? Go on.
I think it. You know, I don't even. And joking aside, and I do actually mean it. I do spend a lot of time making Lego, and I've bought lots of big sets of different things, and including, you know, kind of cars and Harry Potter stuff and Star Wars stuff. And I've got friends whose their kids are really into this, and I understand everything, but I just honestly get the feeling that somewhere at Lego, they literally just sat in the meeting going, what else can we do? There must be something else we can make. And I can understand why, if you've got a Star Wars model or you know, a Harry Potter, if that's your thing, and it's sat there, I can understand the appeal of it, but I just can't understand the appeal of a little. I don't get it.
I wonder who pitched to who for this idea, whether Fender went to Lego, because, you know, you get big brands like Harry Potter, they go to and they do franchise deals, and it makes loads of sense. Do you think Fender went, do you think we could, you know, and they went, yeah, all right, we'll give it a go.
It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is at some point someone said, yes, that's a good idea. That's the only thing that matters. Thomas, get a life.
Can I just say what this reminded me, and I think I can show it on screen, is what is worth looking at is a guitar made of a shovel. Yeah. If you go and look on YouTube, there is a guy who makes these shovel guitars, and you can play them even if you can't play guitar, because there's 3 strings. You tune them all to a chord.
Can you dig
and
it?
You play them with a bottleneck kind of thing. And so wherever you put your finger and your strum, it kind of sounds good and bluegrassy. Yeah. So if anyone's into building a guitar from a shovel, just search on YouTube. There's a guy that does one. And they're not that hard.
Like a good idea. I was a bit dubious. I'm sure I was looking for it earlier because on the Lego site there's an adults section, but it's adults welcome section, and I was wondering what other stuff they might make just for adults out of Lego, but I didn't want to speculate too much. It just looks like, you know, they obviously this can't be for adults because look, there's got too many really tiny little bits in it. I mean, you know, it needs to be Duplo rather than Lego, certainly for my. But I used to use Lego as a kid. I loved it.
I love the fact you're playing, but small kids. Yeah, they can play with really little teeny weeny bits. Do you know what? I'm sure they're going to choke on them, but it's okay. It's the other way around.
No, it's not. I think you have to be of a certain age. I can't imagine your 2-year-old would be playing with tiny Lego. But I used to make weapons out of Lego. I remember making a really good crossbow. Out of all the long bits and train tracks. So the crossbow would fire one train track across the other train track, and it would penetrate several thick layers of cardboard. It was really powerful. And I made another one that was like a trebuchet, which was like you had a turny bit, so you put a clock spring in and then turn it, and then it would flick a oneer out of the. That wasn't quite so. It didn't do much damage. But I mean, I used to love Lego. I think maybe that's where I got. You know, that's good fun. Anyway, we'll probably gloss over that, and perhaps not such, but it was a bit of a joke one, I guess. But I suppose while we're on the subject of guitars, this was also interesting. Oh, no, it's not that one, it's this one. No, it's not even that one. Where is it? Oh, I've lost it.
It's not that one.
Oh, I don't know where it's gone. There it is. There we go. Beg your pardon. Oh, I don't know what's going on with my video switching. It's all gone to pot. So this is the new, also amusingly titled Boss. It's a Waza Air bass, which looks, you know, again, this is a very lifestyle marketing video. But this actually in guitar form won our NAMM 2020 Innovative Technology or whatever, guitar thing. Can't remember what it was. Really interesting idea. What it does is it's got all the amps and DSP in the headphones, which work positionally, I think, over Bluetooth with your phone, so give you a kind of sense of the amp being in the room and give you the ability to sort of be playing with it. Feels like you're actually playing in a space, and I've heard it and it was actually really good. And they've obviously just brought a bass one out, so DSP's in there, runs off the phone through app. The audio is 2.4 megahertz from the special jack plug you plug in your guitar, so it's not latent, whereas the app control is Bluetooth. And it just seemed like it's actually a really immersive idea, and it's almost this. We talked about this before with this sort of AR type thing, and I reviewed those Waves headphones that, you know, you could set up monitoring spaces and turn your head, and you get, and it's all of that, but it's also got all of this amp modeling and all that other stuff, because the Boss Cosm stuff is actually really good. But I wonder how it'd be with bass. It might be kind of cool.
I think it's a great thing, isn't it? The idea that things move around when you move your head is, when you're practicing. I mean, I'm not particularly a bass player or a guitar player. It'd be kind of cool to have it, you know, just to be able to plug in everything. But I think this is definitely the way things will work out in the future. I've got a feeling, I could be wrong, but the new version of Unreal Engine, which is the thing that the gaming engine that powers Fortnite and Final Fantasy and like loads and loads of massive things. It's still in beta, but it's a public beta and it's free if anyone's interested in getting involved. It has built into it this incredible synth engine, audio engine, which is a combination. It's a bit like having, is it Reactor in Native Instruments, where you can design your own synths?
Right.
You can kind of put an oscillator and everything, you know, so you can, it has oscillators and filters and loads of crazy stuff, which you can just build things. But around all of that, you can build the triggers and the positioning. So not only can you build a synth, you can fire the synth sounds or change the filter depending where your head's moving, where your controller's moving, what you're clicking, what you're doing in this environment. So this engine allows you to do stuff like this. It's not just for playing games. You could build a brilliant game as well, but it has all of the kind of geo bits that can alter any parameter based on any input, you know. So you could plug a MIDI keyboard in and use it as a synth, or you could literally have your head turning, and it's making stuff like this a lot easier. So if you can combine impulse responses, say from a room, which is probably what this is geared around, and you can take impulse responses from various parts of the room and then literally crossfade them as your head's moving. You don't have to do all the heavy lifting of doing the head moving bit. You just have to concentrate on what it sounds like. And I think we're going to see, because of technology like this, it's free as well, and it's actually free up until quite a generous level of sales. I think you have to do 500,000 sales before you pay royalties on it.
They're pushing it hard then.
Yeah. And I got lost. I literally lost about a week building stuff in it, and then realized I actually had to do some proper work, and sort of shelved it, because it's just wonderful what you can do. And so I think, therefore, it's probably not the only one out there, that these things are becoming easier to produce, and will also become more and more.
I suspect, I suspect that the thing about this one is that it's actually it's proprietary. It's not going to be open source.
Probably not based.
What I think they should have done is that for the base one, you have the head ones, and then you have some sort of kicker type thing that you wear in a vest that gives you that real sort of, and then you really feel like you're doing it. Because I mean, they're good headphones. I mean, there's a video of me at NAMM sort of explaining what it sounds like to somebody, because obviously I can't record it because you can't get that in the spatial. But it's interesting. I don't know. I know some people that mix with those sub packs and whatnot. And have you tried the spatial audio with headphones and seeing how it feels?
I've got the Waves plugin and the little thing that attaches to them. So, and that, you know, it works well. It does work. It does surprisingly well, because you almost want to be cynical about it, but no, it does work well. But that's all I've tried. I've got a friend who has got all the body stuff. I've never tried it, but he swears by it. You know, and I think all of this tech, it just looks great. I mean, it's, you know, I just think of all the times in the past when, you know, being on the road and things where you'd kill to have something like this, where you could just sit and practice, and it actually sounded like you were actually sat somewhere, you know, and. Yes, I think it's great, and I don't think the price is stupid either. I mean, it's not cheap.
It's about $449 US. I mean, I remember when the guitar one came out. I mean, I can't see why there would be any difference between them. I mean, I can't see, and maybe the headphones are. I mean,
maybe the headphones are tuned differently, but
maybe I don't know. But the Waza Air, because we were trying to get one in for review, because when we were at NAMM, Rob, who does all the back office stuff, which he's coming to Berlin, that he handles all the rendering and the editing stuff, he was really excited by this, and we tried so hard to get one in for review, and it just never came because they were so in demand. So they'd sold out almost instantly, and they had some really good videos of, which perhaps won't work so well with bass, but people like Ingrid Malmsteen, you know, trying it out, and those kind of reaction videos that generally are a bit cheesy, but in this instance you really got the sense that they were just going, oh my goodness, or wow man, you know, whatever. Check the one with Ingrid Malmsteen and the Waza Air. He's really, I mean, because he looks like a heavy metal Elvis. He's an interesting guy.
Well, good old and a half.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good stuff. So yeah, maybe this will mean that we're actually kind of we're kind of getting somewhere closer. But I think until it's open source, like say Dom, that it is with that engine you mentioned. What was it called again? It's the
it's Unreal Engine. So it's
Engine.
Massive, because you build games on it, but it's taken on a new dimension. And I think we've seen a couple of examples of it. Do you remember there was a modular in virtual reality where you could do stuff? You showed a video. I'm pretty sure that was built in it. And it's free to download. Don't let it put you off, even if you're not that geeky. It's designed for normal people to build stuff in. So even if you just want to build a one oscillator synth, it's amazing.
Aren't we? Apparently, there's I can't remember what it's. Photogrammetry is a thing now, isn't it? Where now there's this point where apps are being designed to run on your iPhone. That means that you can take a picture of, you know, you can scan your mug or whatever, an object, and then bring that into Unreal Engine and have it render. And so, you know, the ability to be able to scan stuff and bring it in and then put it into an environment is becoming much, much easier, because obviously it's fine working in 3D, but making 3D models is really hard. You've got to think incredibly far outside that. It's just very, very difficult to get your head around the space. It takes a certain amount of skill. But this new technology, and I can't remember, it's photogrammetry. I forgot what the term of it is. Perhaps the chat will allow this to be you just go, okay, put it on a table, spin it round, stop. Do your thing, export a DXF or whatever the descriptive file is. And also, if you're moving the camera around, you could actually have it map the path of the camera that you're holding around the object into the 3D stuff. So this sort of stuff is getting really close. It's close. I mean,
that's kind of why I like the sound bit, because I'm useless at drawing pictures or modeling 3D stuff. But with there are loads of Unreal imported things you can start with. So you could literally import a room, and then as you walked around the room, you could adjust the cutoff filter of one of the oscillators of the synth and stuff, you know, just really trivial stuff. But yeah, it's definitely becoming easier. Actually, augmented reality, Lego are missing a trick on that. If I can have a drum machine on the back of my serial packet, think of what I could do with a decent Lego modular system, just with an augmented reality reading in the stuff that I've built. That's quite
sod 3D printing. Cool. Just build it in Lego and then just point your camera at it.
Pops out the other end. Yeah.
What the hell? Yeah.
Can I just interact with a really high tech question?
Of course.
My batteries are about to run on my laptop. Can I just nip and get my charger from up in the house?
Yes, I think you can. We're nearly at the end. We're nearly at the end.
I know, but I literally have 5%. So
okay, all right. I'll try and we'll try.
I'm going.
So, He's going. Off he goes. Right. So we're going to hear a kind of like door opening and then a...
God, thank goodness it was only that high tech. I was getting worried for a moment.
Yeah.
I can answer questions like that.
I think you're right, Dom. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of this kind of stuff. I mean, we had to touch upon it before. I mean, I'd love to maybe do I did intend to do a piece with game music and game sound composers about how they're working in, you know, in the current generation of, you know, PlayStations, Xboxes and whatnot, you know, because all of this stuff is happening with 3D headsets and whatnot. I mean, it's a very interesting. I don't know whether your kid's got any of that stuff. My daughter doesn't, but when I've tried it, I found it very discombobulated because you're in a sort of meta universe and it's really difficult to kind of figure out the physical feedback and the sensory feedback thing.
100%. I shied away from being an early adopter on the PC-based kind of Vive style stuff and Oculus, but we did get a PlayStation VR. And to be honest, Luna May's 9, my daughter, but I kind of pushed her into it because I think they released Minecraft on it, and we were both building I did a video and I was building like a drum machine in Minecraft and stuff. I thought, well, it'd be great if we do this, and it's incredible. It really is. It's amazing what you can do. But in terms of building stuff for it, it just adds that extra. I mean, it really does add that extra dimension because you've got positional cues as well as timing cues. And so before, when you were designing music for games, you would have the cues that would fire off to trigger the music. So something would happen and music would play. Then you'd have sound effects like guns and stuff, where it would obviously positionally around your head be going on. But they didn't cross over that much. So in general, the sound designers were giving you, here are all the sound cues, off you go and wire them up. And I think now it's much more of a case of, for example, you know, as you go into the tunnel, the high cut filter will be coming in, and the sound designer will be doing that, or the composer will be doing that, because it'll be an inherent part of the score that he's making, you know, which is just brilliant.
I suppose. Well, I suppose, I mean, this is all tying in with Atmos, isn't it? I mean, that Dolby Atmos. Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a point where it all converges and everything is done that way. I haven't spoken to you, Ty, because I mean, obviously Atmos. Lots of people. Yoad's got an Atmos room. You know, I know that there's another guy with us, Steve Evans, who he's built a system. Are you being pressured or being asked to provide mixes in Atmos for the stuff that you're doing for media yet?
Not yet.
No.
I mean, it's kind of on the horizon, but no, not yet. No.
Is that something are you gonna go for that, or are you gonna just go, you know what, someone else?
I don't know is the answer, to be fair. I mean, you know, I like working in surround, but, you know, normal surround, but I just a lot of extra. If I have to, I think that's the thing. I think if I have to, then you know, kind of, it's one of those. But as I said before, I'm kind of coming to the point in career-wise where I'm trying to do less and trying to, from that point of view. I don't want to sit here and go semi-retire, but you know, I want to be doing less.
Yeah,
and it's like one of those things where I will hold out, I think, as much as I can. Because there's just other issues when you start working in that kind of surround and Atmos and environment. And from my point of view, they're less to do with musical. You know, for me, I keep saying it's all about the musicality of everything. And they're not really musical issues. And so I'd rather I'd quite happily just mix in stereo for forever and a day, really, and just make it all about, you know. In my head. But if I have to, I will. But no, I'm not being pressured into it yet, so, which is good.
Okay, well, I'm going to just run this little one past everybody, because we have occasional what have you discovered recently workflow or plugin, or use some gear that you just figured out, or something nifty that you kind of go, oh, have you checked this out? And I was going to go first because I've got a couple of things. I did mention this briefly in the pre-show, but what I will do, so I'm going to start with this. This is it's a mic sanitizer, and basically you put your mic in it, you switch it on, and it's got UVC and ozone, and it just basically sanitizes the thing. I know that Ty mentioned it at the beginning of the show, I think, while we were on it. I can't remember now, but I thought that's what we're going to be using for Superbooth. It's just a bit of extra kind of safety for, as we say, and also it's kind of, I was wondering what else I could put in it, but I don't think there is. But it's this thing. I'll put a link to it. That's one of my picks, but I've got another pick as well, just because. Now, let me see. So that's that guy. It's the ViolaWave grenade. And also, this thing is really cool. I don't know if you've seen these. This is like a USB-C powered 15.6 inch monitor. So it's exactly the same as my laptop. It's one cable. Powers it and sends the signal down, so I can expand my desktop. And it's, you know, ultra thin, half an inch thick, so I can put it in with a laptop. So it gives me an extra screen, basically, which is just going to be really handy for Super. Have you noticed there's that little hole? I don't know if you can see that. There's a little tiny hole in the bottom corner, which actually is really neat. So you could, rather than bring that case with it, you could just stick a pencil or a pen through it, and it'll just stand up. It's just a really nifty bit of design. Really neat bit of design. I'm going to post it. Bizarrely, I bought this a couple of weeks ago, and it's gone up by about 40 quid. So I put the link in the show notes. But that's kind of cool. That one's called I think it's called what's it called? UPerfect upgrade 15.6 mobile monitor, and it's, you know, you can get 4K ones as well, but the fact that I like the fact that it just runs off a single wire off a current Mac or a Thunderbolt equipped thing. I don't know if anyone else has got anything. Dom, did you have anything?
At the last minute, a couple of things. Now, I might have mentioned this one before. I got a couple, but I may have mentioned this one before, but it's worth mentioning again. This is a monitor style stand off of, how can I get it in the picture a bit better?
Yep, I can see it.
Got loads of them.
Amazon, and they're like 23 quid, and they're super strong. And they're really good for putting drum machines on, and I'm really bad at framing it. Hold on, there you go. And they're super strong, so you can literally, I could put Deluge on there, laptops, all sorts. It's kind of that. So I will go to the YouTube version of this after the show's finished, and I'll put the link to. I'm just looking
to see if I can find one.
There's
on
a few
Amazon
up there, but it was literally 23 quid, which as a stand for stuff, if you've got loads of little doorless stuff around, is epic.
Is it an iPad stand? Is that what it's designed for?
No, it's more like a laptop, really. It's really
it's a laptop
to clear
stand.
the laptop off your desk, so you can put. Bits
here we go.
Is
this
there
it?
you go.
This one here.
If it's
That's
like 25 quid, there you go.
Yeah.
$24.99.
You see all.
Yeah.
You see all those? Am I pointing in the right direction? There's a.
Yeah.
Well, hang on a minute. Yeah, that way. See that MS-20, whatever it is, module? That's on one of those. That thing, no, hang on a minute, that way. That's something, whatever that is. Dreadbox thing, that's on one of those. There's loads of them all around there. I've got a Soma thing over there on one. They're fantastic. They're really, really good. And as Dom
Very
said,
adjustable
they take,
as well.
Yeah, they're fantastic. They hold their position really well. They're great.
Oh, and you don't have to pay any music biz tax on them, which is cool.
Nice one.
And the other thing isn't something cool, but I've managed to find one of these.
Oh my god! Wow!
On eBay, and I've got a pack of 80s glam Sharpies and some stickers. I'm going to make a new little monitoring station, so I can plug my SP404 into it and do 80s and 90s style hip hop jams into my jam box. So that's my next plan.
That actually links in with what I've discovered.
Oh, cool!
Yeah, because what I've discovered is that I'm crap. I used to be good. So what happened with people that know? So my mum passed during the summer, and so clearing out a house and things, I found all of these cassettes, and of course my mum and dad kept all the cassettes of everything that I've ever done. And so last week I decided, oh, great, I should go and listen to them, expecting to listen to all this stuff and go, ha, 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 look at me, wasn't I crap then? And it didn't quite work out like that. What I've realized is I peaked at about 23, 24, and I was listening to all this music that I'd written and recorded and everything, and it was bloody brilliant. And I literally turned around to my system working on this David Attenborough thing and listened to what I was doing now going, God, this is crap. And so yeah, I realized that I peaked in 1991, 92. I peaked. I was actually good then. And,
well, many of us did, Ty. It's not. Yeah. It's nothing to be.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, actually, that's
true. So basically, what's happened since then is I've been living on the dregs of my creative life since. So yeah. But of course, ironically, as we all know, all of that really fantastic, wonderful stuff paid me absolutely no money whatsoever back in 91, 92, 93. So
always the way, always the way.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's great to have all these cassettes. It's amazing. So.
Well, also it made you who you are. You know, every bit of that is rubbed off on you today. So it's not,
completely. But the problem is, I genuinely thought at least I could just listen to it and have some kind of I've moved on a bit. But in every way, shape, or form, I haven't moved on at all. I mean, it's just honestly, I'm just a poor version of where I was then. I mean, when I say poor, I mean, you know. So if you don't see me next week, then it's been nice knowing you all, and I'm just going to go and lock myself away.
Yeah, Technomatic very kindly has bought us Wurst and Weissbier next week. Thank you very much. That is outrageously generous. What a very, very kind soul. No, I mean, it is really interesting. I mean, I know what you said, but I don't think there's lots of shifting things here. There's your perception of what is good has changed. Your perception of what you do now has changed. The thing, you know, because I go back and I read sort of articles that I might post and go, God, did I write that? That was really good. That doesn't sound like my voice now, that I try and do it. I do everything in a hurry with loads of, and some of the reviews, you know, but by the same token, there are very different parameters that I'm working with. You know, it's not the same thing. You know, back then you may have just gone, well, maybe the reason it was so good is because you actually stayed up for 3 nights on the trot to do it, rather than go, well, I've got till 6 and that's all it's got. You know, so it depends. I think it really depends on your where you are. So I wouldn't be so hard on yourself. I mean, I can understand.
Do you know what? That's incredibly kind. I mean, you're wrong in every way, but that's so kind and very sweet of you. But thank you.
Oh dear. I'm just trying to lift the tone, Tom. It just sounds like, you know, all of this. It's not worth it.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's great.
Anyway,
no, I can laugh about it. I can laugh about it because, you know, things have worked out, which is great. But yeah, it's
wait till we launch our
by the same token, I listen back to old stuff and I go, God, that really was bad, you know. But at the same token, you often listen back to old music that you thought was great and thought that had a really great drum sound. You listen to it and go, no, it didn't. What on earth was I thinking? Because the perception is different.
Absolutely, but that was the thing. I mean, there were certain pieces around that period that I honestly thought I would listen back to because I remember them very fondly and thought they were really good. But I genuinely thought I was going to listen back and just go, "Oh, this is all rose-tinted spectacles," and they weren't actually that good. And amongst all the the crap bits, there are just certain bits that really genuinely were better than I even remembered them, and they've aged quite well as well, which, you know, early 90s stuff, we know that's a bit, but they've aged quite well.
I mean,
if
you're prolific, I mean, some of it's going to be good, right? Jesus, let's hope so.
Oh, great. Thanks, you've made me feel so much better now. Basically, if I just write enough shit, I'll get there eventually. Thanks, Nick.
That's not what I mean. No. The hardest person to satisfy is I think creatively, one of the hardest people to satisfy are yourselves, you know, because you're always, you know, fighting against whatever. There's all sorts of things
completely.
that go on. You know, the client might be happy. We always used to say if we got a 3 out of 3, then we were really chuffed when we were doing remixing. You know, it's like record company happy, artist happy, we were happy. That was very, very, very rare that you'd get a 3 out of 3. So, you know, it's just, that's the way it goes sometimes.
Absolutely.
Anyway, on that, God, I think I might have lifted it just enough to not. I'm not sure. Folks, thank you so much, everybody. It's been great to have you. Ty, it's been a pleasure. I hope it's not going to be too long till next time, but you always keep abreast of what we're doing with the Super Booth stuff, so we'll be back the week after.
I'll be there. I'll be watching from afar. Absolutely. It's been great. Thank you.
You're welcome. We might even try something live. We'll have Ed out in the world with a camera, and maybe somebody can join us remotely, because I can do all of this in the cloud. That's the idea. I don't know. Anyway, Don, also thank you very much for joining us too.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me. I shall smash my proverbial Lego guitar and work out how to spend $100 a day for the next year. Anyway, yes.
Well,
have a brilliant time at Super Booth.
That's not a bad idea. You make a Lego guitar that you're going to smash up repeatedly, but then you keep it all, everything's together on tiny little strings. And maybe what you want to do is like smash it up, and then there's a button that makes it go zoop, back together again. So you could just kind of, that would be for the touring.
You're saying this out loud, Nick. Just be aware. You're saying this out loud. You're not having one of your things. Okay.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you to everybody in the chat rooms. Thank you, everybody, for your super stickers and super chats. Very much appreciated. And all of those folks in the IRC and the Discord and all of those things. I will get there in the end with the technology I'm trying to bring into the show. I'm just trying to automate, because it's a one-man show, and I'm trying to button next topic. All this stuff happens, and all I have to do is think about talking rather than which bloody video is it. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thank you very much. We'll see you all next time. Don't forget Super Booth from next Wednesday. See you later. Take care.